Air. So I just feel like talking for a little bit. So I see what's going on with this. I saw a clip of a guy talking to a Chinese guy, and he's saying that United States was built for the intentions for only white people, not for black people, not for Chinese people, not for Mexicans, not for anybody. So their intentions were they're gonna act like they did not know that there were other people that were here before they got here. They had to know that there were other bodies. They don't care. They want to kick they what they want to do is kick everybody out that is not white, that's not them. Okay? And that's what they wanted, that's what so many white people wanted Donald Trump for. I want to say this. I saw this on Tanya TKO. It's called Age to Well, and she has a series called Age to Well, and I think this is Age to Well part episode 4, and it's with Nick Fuentes talking about your body's my choice. You don't have a choice. And she saw like some kind of troll or something, like there was like a little cartoon image of a troll or whatever it was, and it had the word RAPE. They're going to RAPE women. Women are not going to be able to hold out and say they're not going to have children. They're not going to birth you. They're going to be able to rape women. Now, I want to say this. Um, See, white women, when their group of men tick them off, they will refuse to give birth to them. Now, brown women, they don't really have that problem. Brown men can disrespect them all kind of ways they want to, and they will still give birth to them. So I don't think brown women are really at risk for getting raped. Excuse me, RAP'd. But brown women probably will, only because it would be legal to rape women, RAPE women. It would be legal to RAPE women. So more brown women will probably get raped en masse, only because it would be just legal to do it. But otherwise, the fact of just, okay, we're not gonna give birth to you since you're gonna treat us like this. Well, that's not something that brown women are gonna do. Brown women will continue to give birth to brown children no matter how they are treated. So that threat is not towards brown women. That threat is towards white women, because white women will say, F all of this. You want to act like that? I'm not going to continue to birth you into this world. And Nick Fuentes says, your body, my choice. That message is for white women. Only reason why brown women need to be concerned is because brown women are treated horribly anyway. They've been treated horribly anyway, and for the longest time, it's been okay for brown women to be treated horribly. But the only thing they need to worry about at this point is that if you report a rape or a RAPE, it's nothing that anybody, I guess, is going to do about it, because it's going to be legal for guys to just take advantage of women like that. I feel like that's the only thing brown women need to worry about. But as far as raping, R wording brown women to have babies, that's unnecessary. Brown women are going to continue, no matter how they're treated, to give birth to men that disrespect. They're gonna continue to do it. There's no need an R wording brown women for the birth of the nation, the brown children, because it doesn't matter how they're treated. They're going to continue to birth brown children. Okay, no matter how they're treated by the men, they're going to continue to birth them. Okay, so that is not for brown women. Okay, that is for the white woman. And the reason I bring this up, because I was listening to Tanya TKO, and she was talking about how I guess this young brown male goes to an all white school. And so I guess he's 8 years old, I believe. I heard he was 8 years old. And as he was in class, the classmates was all calling him, I guess, the N-word, and said, you're about to be our slave now. You're about to be our slave. Right? The class. Now, I'm guessing he has white girls in the class and white boys, and they were saying, you're going to be our slave. The first thing I was worried about, and I know this people going to disagree with this, but I was like, those little white girls don't understand that they're going to be the slaves too. White women are going to be sex slaves. So white women might need to back off trying to hop on brown people talking about you're going to be our slaves. With white women, you're going to be sex slaves. You're going to be forced to have children. So you might want to back up off of brown people wanting to call them the N-word. Unless you're going to find a way spiritually to stop that from happening. You're going to have to find a way spiritually to stop that from happening. Because white women, these men said, your body, our choice. And that is for the white woman. That's not for anybody else. For the white woman, you know, the reason why, because they don't want to birth any other children. They don't want any other group of people to be in this nation, in the United States of America. They don't want black people here. They don't want Chinese people here. They don't want Mexicans here. That message is for the white woman, because this white man is saying it. So that message is for the white woman. It's not for anybody else. They don't want anybody else here. Why would they want brown women or brown Mexicans or anybody else to give birth to children? They want everybody else gone that's not white. That message is for the white woman. Okay? So that's the first. While these white kids, while their parents are sitting around indoctrinating their children, talking about, yeah, brown people are going to be our slaves again. But while you're indoctrinating your children, you might want to tell your daughters that they're going to be sex slaves. They're going to be Stepford wives. You might want to let your daughters know that too. Why they trying to be nasty? Okay. But anyway, and so I listened to Tanya TKO, and the school did not want to do anything about it. So Tanya TKO and her team got together, and they sent they contacted that school, and then the matter was taken care of right away. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm kind of glad I don't have children, because it's hard to give advice, but I know sometimes parents feel like their kids would get the best education in predominantly white institutions, but the racism is out this world. Like, it's crazy. But sometimes when they go to like black public schools, because I went to a black public school, and sometimes you deal with a lot of children that come from a lot of children that come from low income areas. And it's nothing wrong with coming from low income areas. It was nothing wrong with that in the 60s. It was nothing wrong with the low income area in the 50s. And even in the early 70s, maybe it wasn't anything wrong with low income area. See, people make this all about money. It's not about money. Low income areas are now very dangerous, especially black populated low income areas. They're dangerous. They are crime ridden. They're full of crime, and that's why a lot of these parents get their kids out of black schools and want them in white schools. But the problem is the white schools, and now that you have somebody in office, they are freely practicing their racism without any consequences. And a lot of parents, they have to work and do all this stuff, and they don't have time to homeschool their children or whatever needs to be done. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm kind of glad I'm not a parent at this time, because that's an interesting situation to be in. That's a tough situation. Okay. A lot of times, specifically brown boys. My brother, we all went to public school, right? A lot of brown boys are forced to join gangs. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. And a lot of those boys that come from the gangs, they come from low income neighborhoods. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, I'm not against people that come from those neighborhoods, but I don't, because of the culture of those neighborhoods is mostly, that's where the most crime take place during this time. Yeah, I probably, and it's not about low income, because guess what? You have a lot of white people that's in low income areas. You have other people that's in low income areas where they're not as dangerous. Now, Mexicans, Latinos, I've spoken to them, and sometimes their low income areas could be just as dangerous as, the brown community, low income area. They could be just as dangerous. Okay. So the only reason why I would say a lot of brown boys are just not safe going to public schools, where it's mostly populated by other brown people, mostly brown people, is because a lot of them are going to come from low income neighborhoods, and the brown boys are at risk, because I've already seen it firsthand. They are forced to join gangs. They're forced to join gangs. That was not the case in the 60s and the 50s. I don't think that was the case. So it's not about somebody being poor. There's nothing wrong with that. There's been times I didn't have money. There's been times I didn't have money for bills. It's not about not having money. It's about what goes on and the culture and the energy that they bring to these other environments. Okay, and I did a home health visit in Los Angeles, and my patients was a brown. One of my patients was a brown lady, and she talked about her son. He was a teenager, and she talked about how these men in the neighborhood kept trying to get her son to join a gang, and he kept saying no. And for whatever reason, I'm not going to really judge her for it, but she sent him to the store one time by himself. I guess she usually sends him to the store. The store is right down the street. So she usually just sends him to the store to get something for her, and he comes back. Well, one time he went to the store and he never came back. And next thing you know, he heard in the news, she saw in the news that a young boy was killed by gang violence. Okay? And that was her son, killed by gang members because he didn't want to join the gang. So yeah, I think it's okay to say that you don't want your child going to public schools where it's mostly black people, and it's okay to not want to raise your child in a black neighborhood, especially if it's low income. It's okay to say that. I mean, because we witness people that witness too much happening to their girls and to their boys to continue to be politically correct. Forget hurting people's feelings. It is what it is. I can see why she wanted to send her son to that white school. Because had he gone to a black public school, he would have been forced to join a gang. Because I see it all the time. Now, had he gone to a black private school, actually it's a little different. Because I've seen people who go to black private schools, and it's not the same. They don't have all that gang activity. It's different. It's a different, well, I'm from Generation X, so it was different in the 90s. It was a school called St. Jude in Montgomery, Alabama, and that was a private school, but it was mostly black people, and they were the same as white people. I mean, you know, they were not violent. They weren't fighting. They were the same. They were like what you would call uppity Negroes. That's what people like to call it, uppity Negroes. Okay, so I mean, it was safe, right? But a black public school for little boys, they're forced to join gangs. I've seen it so many times, and it's not safe. But anyway, with that being said, I just feel like talking about that a little bit, and I'll talk later.